Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to what is round 3 of the World Tour here at Pro League Racing. I am Aces, the new commentator here for PLR Monday League. Probably don't recognise me, which is definitely understandable. Obviously am the new commentator here. Good to see so many people out on track today. I think there's 41 cars today, but except 42 cars, sorry. On an exceptionally hot track, as you can see in the top right there, a 43-degree track here, so it's definitely going to be a very interesting race to say the least here. But on top of that as well, we've only got a pit stop mandatory for fuel, so that can make stuff a lot more interesting. Obviously it's only an hour race here, so it's going to be balancing out absolutely everything you can if you want to go tyres on. It's only an hour race though, as I just said earlier. So I reckon the tyres will be able to last an hour, because obviously you can do, I think, up to 4 hours or so on the same set of tyres before it starts becoming very sufferable. But I'll just introduce myself a tiny bit as we go into a qualifying. 36 minute qualifying split between the AMs and the Pro shares. We do see, I think they are the AMs going out onto track first. As I was saying, I am Aces, or Alex, I'm known as, in the Discord. I'm 15 years old, commentator for various different leagues at the moment, such as FRL, Pit Skill, PLR now, obviously, and I've done quite a few other jobs in the past. It's very good to see I've been able to be trusted on the PLR comms team, but I'll definitely not let them down. So I do see quite a few names I do recognise in here from various different leagues, and obviously a few faces I've just recognised from PLR in general, as we do see the AMs now out on track for their first out lap here. Hopefully, obviously the track temps has decreased quite a bit here, down to 30, so around optimum track temperature for GT3 hot lapping, so we might be able to see some cars mainly hopping into the low 30s. Obviously that's more going to be in the pro split times, but I did see in practice people doing high 30s, but obviously it's a cooler track at the moment, so might make a bit of a difference there on times. So you do just see it, unfortunately, a few cars already going off, going into sector 2 there. We do see James, unfortunately, just seeming, I'm guessing, clipping the apex a tiny bit wrong there, causing him to go on the grass and just being a bit out of control there. Craig Sweeney, though, a person I do recognise, but I don't know what from, on board with him currently. It looks like he might need to try back off before the end of this lap, because obviously the one thing you don't want, and it's quite a large server tonight, is traffic being not on your side, because obviously I don't think overtaking is allowed on this server like most servers, because overtaking during qualifying is just not a good idea. But we do see, it seems there isn't much of a gap here between Craig and the Ferrari in front of him. Is it going to be enough though, so he doesn't catch up to? I think that's the bog standard ACC livery. I might be wrong there, but it does seem though the gaps are steadily staying the same at the moment, not fluctuating too much in time. And we do see Enrico in the Lamborghini going about 5/10 in his personal best since practice here, so this could put him further up in the order than usual. So that's quite a nice livery there in the Lamborghini. I like simple liveries. Overcomplicated liveries can be a bit too much. We do see 5/10 there, just going into the start of sector 2 now. Does seem he does have traffic behind him. Is that going to pressure him too much? Possibly going to a mistake there, but obviously we still got 13 minutes, I think. Wait, no, 23. I should probably stay in school. Well, obviously it's split in half, the qualifying session, so they won't have the entire 36 minutes, as we do see now. The Silvers and the Pros are just patiently waiting in the pit lane, as we do see most of the AMs out on track, a few that are still in the pit lane for the time being, just trying to go a tiny bit faster. Hi Ben, thank you very much for kind words on my introduction post. Yeah, what wasn't good though is I'm suffering from COVID. Welcome OM. Has it been that long since comms on this? Because it's only the third round into here, as we do see now Enrico going third fastest here, as we do see Colombo in the 33s for the first lap. I reckon those times will start to decrease quite steadily, as he's already about 3/10 up on his personal best lap time, so we might see a 32 from Colombo quite soon. So over here, I reckon, yeah, we're going to see low 30s, maybe high 29s. We've gone a few seasons without a live broadcaster. Oh no, you don't need to worry about that for a while. I'm just gonna have to put this out here for the time being. First rounds of broadcasting always go a bit wavy for me, especially when there's European names. For some reason I'm just horrible with names, so if I do say your name incorrectly, I apologise. I will try not to do that as many times as did get corrected a few times in pit skill the other week, which is butchering names is part of the fun. I 100% agree. I want to say mid last year. Okay, so it's been quite a while here, so hopefully this is a more permanent thing. I'm not even gonna try. This is just making fun of a dyslexic person now. I don't know how to say that. I can Sausagera, I can get that. Susanjara. I probably absolutely no idea how to say it either. Not fair enough. So my room is actually looking like a construction site at the moment, because I did just get a new rig earlier today, which trying to take that up the stairs was almost a death scenario there. It's like I think it's like a 50 kg package. It's absolutely heavy. But yeah, it wasn't fun taking that up the stairs, as we see quite a few people in chat. Welcome all into chat. Grab Google Translate for proper pronunciations. Yeah, that's what I did last time. I went through it maybe 5 minutes before I went broadcasting. And yeah, there's a few names, such as this name here. Malakuskas. I've absolutely butchered that. I apologise so much. But hopefully for next round I will definitely be better on. Close. Okay. If I'm close, I'll take close for the first time. However, we do just see though Max in the Porsche 992 going here into sector 2, about 6/10 up in his personal best lap time for the time being. Climbing quite higher up there, going through the hairpin of turn 12, I think that is. Does seem to go across the line. Not enough for pole, but it's definitely going to put him further and further up through the orders, going up into P7. That just tells you how gapped. I look forward to the grid walk. Oh gosh, yeah. Grid walk should be fine. I'll probably forget a lot of people's names. But hopefully I don't do that. But that is hopefully something that will come later if my game doesn't crash. Because last time I tried doing a broadcasting pit walk, sometimes it crashes. That's only because I'm using 2 different monitor settings and it doesn't like it on my graphics card. I have a great Craig Sweeney. I should be able to pronounce that name. That was pretty British by heart. Only 4-ish tenths up in his personal best lap time. Closer down to the mid. 2 seconds off the pace, but it doesn't seem he is going to improve too much into the end of sector 2 here. But we probably see a bunch of improvements from a lot of drivers here going into the end of sector 3. That's, I feel like, the place where people are very prone to making mistakes. Fox is flying. Yeah, Fox is 100% flying, as we do see him doing a 31.9 there already in the Aston Martin there. Great car, but it's not a car I see too many times on tracks here. However, we do see, and I'm very happy to see a Lexus on track. That's made me very excited. I like the Lexus. McLaren and Lexus for me. No other car. Obviously the LFM bot, which I know this is still running, is definitely making the cars more inclusive for sessions, so it's all a lot closer between packs now. There are a lot more pros than there are drivers here, which is great to see, so it should make some good racing here. So we do see though, going further down into the pack, George in the R8 there, just getting a bit loose going into the end of sector 1. Obviously that's what happens when you pick the R8. Very, very oversteery car. Going into sector 2, losing a tiny bit of his time there, but managing to gain some of it back there into turn 8. I don't know he's going to be able to carry it through, as it seems he has lost the majority of the time going on to straight. But going into the hairpin, does break a tiny bit too wide there. I dread to think how difficult the R8 is here with the exactly, that's why he's probably struggling quite a bit. Oh gosh, I've developed a Welsh accent. I apologise. Yeah, usually when you come to ACC, I think I started with... What car did I start with? I think I started with the Bentley. And I was so slow. Still am slow, but not as slow as I used to be. Have we always had an R8? I can't remember. I think we have had an R8 since the start, because obviously there is 3 generations now of the R8. So I do think we've had the R8. In practice, the R8 feels great, but I don't remember how long it is in long stints. Tank of fuel should be fine, but I reckon tyre-wise, it's definitely not the one to go for. We'll just double it and give it to the next person. That's basically what they've done here with the Audi. I think it's the Evo 2, but obviously they have the GT2, which makes me mixed up quite a bit. Let's just say the majority of this game is Audis. Wow, I can't speak. I've been curled up on the floor trying to set up a rig for the past 3 hours, and it's not been fun. Yeah, Evo 2 it is. It's still a competitive car if you can drive it right, because I feel like that and the Porsche are very difficult cars to be able to drive. Going through it, Evo 2 is the new one. Yeah, that's it. COVID plus building wrong sounds like hell. I can't picture anything worse. Yeah, nearly falling down with the stairs with the stuff. That makes it even worse. But it's obviously, I had school this morning, so that was me dreading. I nearly fell asleep during the first lesson. It's just that Monday morning thing. But then I had a coffee when I got back, and now I've got more energy than I've had. Welcome in, Snoop. Good to see so many faces in the chat. We are just coming on to the final rounds, I will say. 8 minutes now of qualifying here for the AMS. We have seen 31 here for Anthony Fox in the Fox WT Aston Martin V8. The car that is quite an easy car to drive. I don't know how competitive, well, I'm presuming it's still quite competitive if Anthony Fox has been able to set the fastest lap time by quite the margin now of 7/10 between him and the 296 of Jeffrey Witter. I'm thinking cold hangover from clubbing. Well, definitely not what I've had since Friday night. That sounds like a nightmare. I don't drink because obviously I'm such a good person. I never drink. Procos, yeah. Well, I'm confused now why it's 36 minutes and not 30 or 40 minutes. Because it's just a bit odd time, but obviously we'll just go with it. Colombo though, going into sector 2 is improving quite a lot now. Around 4/10 up on their personal best lap time, which will put him further up quite a bit here. As I do actually know Ricardo, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure how. I think it might have been a league that I did back in the day. When I'm saying back in the day, I mean like probably 4 months ago, so really not that long ago. No need for equality between classes. Fair. I'm presuming it's because it's not as many AMs than there are silver and... Well, yeah, over, I've got to say, 65% of the cars are silvers and pros, which is good to see. Yeah, that's what my prediction was. Oh, I'm being moderated now. Ah, no pressure. Jacob, though, who is currently 11th, unfortunately, quite far down in the actions, but has a lot of potential here. About 6/10 up on their personal best lap time for the time being. Now going into sector 2, trying to get these corners nailed here. Obviously, the track temperature is creeping up slightly, but still not enough at the moment for it to be classed as too hot to set any lap time, which I feel like might happen during the pros, but I don't think he'll be by that much as he comes across the line now. It's going to be enough for a big improvement as we are going across the line, and it seems the lap time did put him up. Unfortunately, it's still not enough to go up into P10, just around 6,000th of a second between both these two drivers now. So that might be quite a close qualifying as he does go into pit now, as we do see now the pros and silvers lining up on Q now, ready to try get the jump out. However, this isn't the greatest of ideas waiting out pit lane, because obviously you have the tyre blankets off, which can definitely lead to colder tyres, but around this track temperature I don't think it really matters. However, we do see Axel, my days, apologise once again, I should be able to say that as well, in E3 Racing Lamborghini, around 1,000th of snow, got a lot of time through there, about a 10th now, going into sector 3. Just spin on your outlap, then you have warm tyres. You know what? That is probably my strategy to any sort of race. Just spin out and just call it a day. Enrico, though, the E3 once again setting, I think, the final lap. This will be for anyone here. About 3/10 up on their personal best lap time. Will be enough if they manage to keep it together for about P4. It seems fluctuating in the time very much there. The delta going down just a tiny bit now, going into sector 2. Through the S's, doesn't seem moment he is losing too much time, but he is gaining more time, but losing some time going to the weaker corners. But obviously that Lamborghini is very good on braking, but not the best through straight line speeds now, as we do see him coming across the line, losing quite a bit of time there, but it's still going to be enough for a sort of improvement. Not enough to go up any positions there. Obviously Robert Jennings at quite high risk here of Enrico for P5 here. Reckon this is behind the scenes, I apologise. There we go, if I just put that up there. Oh yeah, that looks way much better. Hello Bandy, come in. Should start to see now, as we have seen the release of the silvers and the arms on that. What a livery to go out on the first one. So we do see the one car I am very excited to see come out of the pit lane. The Lexus! Woo! In the driver, I do watch his streams quite a bit actually. Mr. Dean. Mortal Kombat livery, so that is actually a very cool livery there. I'm not sure who made that there, but very props up for whoever made that livery there. I'm presuming it might be Dean who made it. So we do see now all of the AMs are supposedly supposed to be back in pit here. However, we do see two straddlers here not in pits just yet. But he's just trying to set his last lap here. Enrico obviously about 2/10 up. This should be their final lap here, going in to the hairpin here, the final corner. Goes across the line. Is it going to be enough? Robert Jennings at risk and lost his place. They're going up into P4. Same with Ricardo here. Both losing their positions there to Enrico. And now they're all in the pits for the time being, as we do see the first few drivers here going out for their first laps here for the pros and the silvers here. See a lot of them going slow, trying to get the order here. This is what you don't want. If you get too close together here, this is where traffic jams start to form like this, and this isn't even the M25. As we do go and see Daniel Montero in the very good looking Porsche BBS livery. Let's just assume he is the last. No, he's not the last in the pack. He's last in this section of the pack, as we do see a bunch of cars in this pack as we go on board now with people who are actually on the hot laps. As we do see Anthony here in the Sky Tempest Racing Mercedes currently up 1.3 seconds on their personal best lap time since free practice. So this could be quite a big improvement here for him if he can get the lap time sorted. Obviously, he does have traffic as well, which isn't going to help him too much going into Sector 2 now. Actually, no, this isn't Sector 2. I apologise. This is still Sector 1. I keep getting it wrong. A303 vibes. Everyone's going slow. Yeah. It's just like every public road. on rush hour. Do you see though, Anthony is 3 seconds up on his personal best lap time. Is this going to be enough for pole on the first lap, or is it going to be, as he does go very wide there, is that going to be out on track limits? That also might be out on track limits, that we have to see later on that, as he is still trying to push it, as he's got quite a good gap there of clean air going through the final corner now. Is it going to be an invalid lap time, or will it be pole here as we do go across him? Obviously he has the slipstream going into this, and it is going to be just enough for P4 there. So we have just seen Vil set a 1:30.7 for the first lap, which is around the same pace as we were seeing in free practice. So we will probably see a decrease in the lap times now. So we might be able to see a lower 30 or even possibly a 29 if there are alien enough drivers. However, we do see some huge improvements to our drivers here, such as Nico here in the Brotherhood Racing M6. Wow, that was not what I was expecting as a car, but the M6 obviously classic here. And ACC being out in the game since the start, as he comes across the final hairpin now of turn 12, just goes across the line, trying to keep the good traction going up. He's still gaining a tiny bit of time, 3.7 seconds across the line, and that's going to be enough for P15. So that is where we're starting to see the fluctuation of lap time starting to happen. Obviously 1:30 all the way down to 1:35s at the moment, but we might see some more lap times improvement, as we do see the EBM Porsche go across the line, but just enough of 31st, so just scraping the barrel there. So we do also see Tony RPM, or Tony Tudor should I say, going across the lap time. Doesn't seem to set a valid lap time. We're just going further back through the grid now. Seeing Eric here in the Amazon Racing in the Aston Martin, it seems. Which Aston Martin is it going to be? It's the V8. Well, no V12s. That's a shame. It does seem he is trying to get closer to the 4-second boundary, around 3.1 seconds at the moment, but gaining quite a lot of time through the S's there. And he has one more corner to try and get this done. Very difficult corner though, in my opinion, to try and get it right, because there's a lot of confidence in the car to do it. And he is around 3.5 seconds, but has the slipstream. Will that help him at all? So it goes across the line now, and we see him going up into what seems an invalid lap time, which is very unfortunate. However, we do see Chris Boardman going across the lap time there. P18 for the time being, provisionally. Might see him go up, might see him go down. We'll have to find out later on, as we do see a few cars that are struggling to set valid lap times here, but have the pace to do so, like Lorenzo here. The Fungus Racing going across the final corner now. Was that out? I don't think that was out, just still on the apex there. Goes across the line here to go into P18 for the time being, which has dropped Chris down a few more positions than he would have liked to, but obviously still 14 minutes now of qualifying for the time being. Just see though, we do see Vil going across the line once again to try open the gap between him and Ben Crook. Is it going to be enough? Around 3/10 of gap there. That is still not very safe, because obviously drivers are improving quite a bit at the moment at a significant rate. Adam Long, for example, about 3/10 up on his personal best lap time, which is, wow, that was not a large gap between them, going from P9 to P5 and just about 3/10 of a second between them both. It's quite mental to see how close the gaps are, as we do see the top 10 are all under a second there of P1 as we go further down the grid. Once again, Daniel Montero going across the line now. Seems to be about 2 up on their personal best lap time. Seems losing a tiny bit of time, not getting the good traction there. Just stealing P20 there. Seems, ooh, this is Black Kick. I'm probably saying that wrong though. Apologise. Just stealing P20 there from Daniel Montero. So we go further down now to see if anyone has started improving again, as we do see Ivo though going into the final corner as well in the Mercedes, trying to get the good traction off on the final corner. Seems to manage to get it done and goes all the way up into P17 from just a 2/10 gap, which is quite insane, as we do see now Vink here in the test livery. So I don't think that was supposed to be livery. 5 seconds up. Is it going to be enough? It's going to to be enough for P9 for the time being, as we still have 12 minutes of qualifying. We'll probably start seeing people changing tyres again, putting more fuel in, because obviously you don't want to put too much fuel in for qualification, because you're going to lose so much time with a heavier car. You just have about 3 or so laps of fuel in the car. However, we do see Ferrari 296 here of Verboven going into sector 2 now. Obviously quite a short sector compared to the other two sectors. Just seeing though, getting a bit of pressure behind from the McLaren there. It doesn't seem it's too much that he can't cope with in the Monster Energy Brotherhood Racing livery. Does seem just going through the hairpin. He does lose a tiny bit of time there, if that is to do something with the McLaren behind him, or just trying to get confident around the track. Obviously, as we do hear the skirting of the tyres there, meaning he is understeering quite a bit through some certain corners there, but at the moment he seems to still be improving. Not too much though, but it's definitely still enough to try grab P28 if possible, as they're both just under, I think, 5,000 per second between them both, as we do see the McLaren right behind him there. That's not going to help him out at all, and he does barely improve on his time there, of just 3,000th of a second between them both now. As we go further up to see Oded on a new lap time here, about 10th up, going through the first corner. Obviously you can take a lot of the outside part of the track there on the runoff, because you can abuse the track limits so much into that first corner, but you can't abuse them a lot into the second. So it's all trying to balance out, remembering the track limits around this track, because it's quite odd when it comes to track limits around this track, to say so the least. Do just go further up now and do see Robert Arlauvi, sorry if I say that wrong again, 3 attempts up on their personal best lap time at the moment is in the McLaren. So very strong car around here, especially with the elephant bob. It's still restricted a tiny bit, but around tracks like this it's still pretty goddamn strong, because obviously it's a good front downforce car. Same with the Ferrari 296, both very efficient on tyres, as we do see him oversteering a tiny bit into the final corner there. It's like going to lose him every part of his time, but it seems he is just going to dead match his time there, it seems. Just 3,000th of a second below the lap time. However, we do see Dean in the Lexus once again yeeting that apex. Seems that might be out on the lap time there, but 2 attempts up, putting a lot of risk there on Vale to try and take pole position away in the Lexus, and I hope he does, because I do like the Lexus. Obviously the Bentley is a great car as well, as we do see him coming across the line, getting a good traction out of there. It does seem he does, getting a tiny bit of time. Now 7,000th of a second between them both. Now this is where we do start to see the fight of the lead of pole here. Obviously it's now a race, so you want to try get further and further up through the grid. Obviously there's 41 cars here. It seems one car has disconnected, unfortunately, but that is still an insane amount of cars on one grid. Further down to see if anyone is improving. We do see this McLaren Evo of Agip Racing coming in P15, around 2 attempts up on their personal best lap time. That reminds me of what car is it? The Jensen Team Rocket Racing livery quite a bit there. I feel like that might have been the inspiration for it. In fact, yeah, it looks exactly like it, just different colour scheme. Still about a 10th up though, going into sector 3 now on the straight. So you've got the S's, and then you've got one final corner. Just seems taking as much as the inside part of the track as he possibly can. Does seem though he is losing all of his time though, unfortunately. However, we do see Vink once again in the test livery of the Aston Martin V8 going also into sector 3. Obviously the 2 corners that there is in sector 3, going very wide there. That's not going to be a valid lap time, unfortunately. He was about 4 attempts up on his personal best lap time, which is going to be very unfortunate for him. However, we do see another car going into sector 3 of Arik and the Amazon Racing V8, around 4 attempts up on his personal best lap time. Unfortunately just going too wide there, and that is going to be an invalid lap time there, as we do see no improvements further up in the back, apart from Ed again. But that is again the first corner. We always bump into him on the first corner. Is it going to be enough to try and carry all of this lap time to the end of this lap? Obviously, the 2 sectors he still has remaining, both sector 2 and 3, and still a lot of sector 1 as well. Seems to be gaining quite a bit of time though, about 2.5 tenths at the time of saying that, and it seems he is fluctuating quite a bit between the 3 tenths and the 2 tenths. And now he does gain quite a bit of a lap time there going into sector 2. Goes quite wide down. I think that is going to be an invalidation there for him, unfortunately, as he does just let the Ferrari go in front of him. So that is just good sportsmanship. However, we do see Vil fighting here to get a green delta, very close between a red and green delta here, but he is gaining a tiny bit of time here. Is it going to be enough to try to stretch out the gap between him and Dean? At the moment, they have a 2/3 tenths gap between them and P3. Obviously, Ben Crook in P3 at the moment. A Bentley sandwich, you can say here. Bentley seeming to be very strong here, as it seems he does go wide down. I don't think that's going to be a valid lap time there, unfortunately for him, as the gap has just gone to negative, so it doesn't matter either way, as we do go further up there to try and see. Well, actually no, he is supposedly improving a tiny bit, but it wasn't enough to try to take a bit of a chunk of the gap out, as we do see Michael Lawson now in, oh my gosh, that is a dyslexic person's worst nightmare, Xiron Prime Forza Harvey livery, obviously a BBS livery as well, BMW to be precise, going into sector 2 now. Seems losing a bit of time now, unfortunately, going through the final few corners as we saw earlier. We do see Vink as well improving just a tiny bit at the moment. It's not too much, but it's definitely enough to make some sort of a dent in between this, because obviously there's only a 3,000th difference between Vink and Greg Ellis with the PLR Esports livery. Go further down now to see if there's any more cars that are improving. We do see Declan Brogan improving quite a bit. Is it going to be enough? At the moment, it seems it is going to be enough for pole for the time. Not pole, sorry. Or an improvement, but is it going to be enough? It seems he did lose a tiny bit of lap time there, unfortunately, going into the final few corners. That's going to be quite unfortunate there for him. We do see Vil as well improving just a tiny bit, but is it going to be enough to try and stretch out the gap a tiny bit? Seems just a 1/10 of a lap time here. This will be enough for a low of 30 here on track as we go into the last 3 minutes here of qualifying from this 36-minute qualifying session, as we do see now him getting quite a bit of time into sector 2. He is now just creeping into sector 3 now, still up on his personal best lap time at the moment. Is it going to be enough to try and widen that gap for pole, to try and make it a bit more risk-free, as he does go very wide there? I don't know if that's still in track limits, losing a tiny bit of time, but still about 5,000th of a second up on his lap time. That is very wide there, but it seems he did lose all of his time there, unfortunately, going into the final corner. Now still at risk from Dean, who is also improving very marginally. But is it going to be enough for pole as he does come across the line now? Is it going to be enough? It might be very close here, 6,000th of a second between each other. It does just go 5,000th of a second between them both now. This is getting very close between them both. But it's getting very, very close between them now. And I reckon it just needs to get like 1,000th of a second between them both. Obviously, Will needs to come back out on track, as he might do in a minute, as we see Ted in the Bentley livery. As we go further back as well, with Victor in the pair racing. Just going a tiny bit too slow, it seems. Seemingly did spin out during the lap time, unfortunately. As he goes on to his next flying lap. This might be the penultimate flying lap for some, depending on what position of the track they are currently on. However, we also do see Bella Gajdam in the Lightning McQueen livery. That's actually a really good livery. I do like that. Going just a bit quicker there through sector 1, going into sector 2 now. Around a tenth of a second. This will be enough, but just around P5 if he manages to get this lap time done. We just see going in now. The McLaren quite a strong car on this track, as I've been saying. But obviously it's been a bit nerfed both on ACC wise, and they have the LFM bop as well. Losing a tiny bit of time there going into sector 3. In fact, losing all of his time. Can he gain it back? He does seem to gain quite a bit of it back there, carrying all of the apex there. Going into sector 3 now. Using it again, it seems, just not going to get exit there. Just going on the gravel a tiny bit. That's going to slow him down quite a lot, as it seems he's lost 3/10 already. Just from that little touch on the grass. However, we also do see Ben in a Bentley livery. Trying to take pole away, as it seems he might be able to do so. It was a 10th up, but unfortunately losing all of the time there going into the S. However, we also do see Dean, though, improving quite a lot here. This will be enough for pole if he can stick this lap time between them both. Obviously, the top 3 separate just by a 10th and a half or so. Good to see a noob. Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention on chat there. I had my chat thingy out, but welcome all into chat. Thank you very much, Conrad. Was that guy on a flying lap or tripping? Depends who you're talking about. I'll be honest. We do see Dean, though. Zenobovic, I think it is. I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Going through the final passes. We just see the end of qualifying here. Just going a bit wide there, but it does seem it's still in. But losing all of his lap time there. This is going to be quite tricky here. To try and gain a tiny bit of time going into sector 3. He does just go into pit, so that will be his final lap time place, unless someone can gain quite a significant amount of lap time here. Going into it. Another car looked like it was about 30 centimeters above the ground whenever I said that long. That sounds about right. I'll be honest. Seems now everyone is just finishing their qualification here. Obviously, a 36-minute quali. It's quite a bit of time there to try and get some sort of lap done. So do you see all of them coming back into the pit? So we've now got 2 minutes. As I will just put it to the starting screen, but I don't have an intermission page, so we'll just use this for what we've got so far. But obviously, that was quite an interesting quality session, as we do see the server did just go through very quickly there. As we'll do what you guys requested, we will do a grid walk. I haven't done a grid walk in absolutely ages, so I'm going to be quite rusty to say the least. As we do just have that, and we'll scroll down to the bottom for this. We'll change that over as well as we go on for a grid walk here. Hopefully that transitioned over. I can't see my stream deck anymore, as we've got Vil in on pole, just not by a lot though. I think it was just 5,000 of a second between them both in the Bentley. Ted in a Bentley livery, followed there by Dean Zenobovic in the Lexus. Good to see Lexus so far up in the order there in the Mortal Kombat livery, followed there also by Ben Crook in the Bentley. Again, Ben in the Bentley, so quite a few Bentleys in the same occurring design. As we do see Arlavi in the first McLaren, not on the podium though, very close to the podium, followed there by Bella as well in the McQueen livery, followed then by Simic there in the car number 18 of the Ferrari. Seems just like Ferrari colours. However, we do see a Husonville livery there on the McLaren there of, that is Tudor, then followed by Eded. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong, name wrong. Probably am. In what seems to be, I want to say that's an ACC in-game livery, but I'm probably wrong. However, this Audi is definitely an ACC in-game livery, as we do see the suspension is going a bit wild there, as we see now going further down the grid. The BBS of Michael Lawson there in the BMW. Great livery, great car. Going further down there, we do see Bakzik. I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong as well. In the number 13 McLaren, I think another in-game livery there. However, we do see, what I will see is the Rocket SimSport inspired car there in, I think that's P12 of number 30. I might be wrong there now. Oh, I'm rusty with this, you know. All that with the McLaren 27 of Blackett, then following by the 218 Ferrari 296 of Greg Ellis there. Further down the orders, we do see Vlink is well in the test. Yeah, the test. Sorry, I just had a heart attack from my flipping humidifier that keeps beeping every 5 seconds. But the test livery there in the Aston Martin there, followed by the Mercedes of Papa Papa Giorgio. That's fine. Mercedes 31 of the Sky Tempest livery there, followed by the 35 of the 296, which is coming into the silvers now, and then followed there by the Mercedes of Zorikik. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong as well. Number 10 Mercedes. Good to see Mercedes in this race as well. Followed then by the Porsche of Brogan, the number 5. Followed there by Chris Broadman, a fellow Welshie. Not P9. Position. Car number 9. Followed there by, unfortunately, a carbon livery, not being synced to Awesome Sim Racing of the number 12. It's followed then by the M6, beautiful car of Vlaminkic. Then followed by Daniel Montero in the BBS, amazing livery. Porsche there, and then followed once again further down the list, as I do see it, I think that's Anthony Fox in the 16 Aston Martin, followed there by the name I can't say because it's fully censored out on my screen, the 47 McLaren there, followed by the Amazon Prime livery of, I think that is Meguro, sorry if that's wrong, and followed by Week as well. As I need to quickly speed this up, as I didn't think we were. Oh yeah, we'll just go through the liveries as I am now losing. Oh no, gotta change. Oh gosh, I need more time to do that, man. But we will just quickly get on board once again. I'll quickly just set everything up. So we quickly go back in for the ratio. Obviously quite a long ratio here at Valencia, an hour ratio. Obviously a pit stop 4 times as we go on board with the leader here. Bill very closely there by Dean, very close lap times by both of them. Now it just needs to, seems like their pace is very similar as we are on an absolutely scorching hot of a 47-degree track here. So definitely something they need to be careful about, especially if they spin. Because I feel like we might see a spin or two, not necessarily from contact, it could be from anything, because it's such a hot track. Hopefully they've adapted their setups to be able to handle with such hot heats here. As I was watching Dean stream earlier, and he was on 27s on the tyre pressures there, Dean in P2 in the Lexus Mortal Kombat livery. So hopefully he adjusted those tyre temperatures a tiny bit, but who am I to say, he's currently in P2. So I'm hoping he has done, but we'll have to see. Now just come closer to the race start here, going through into sector 3 now. Obviously, do you see the Bentley here? So predictions for tournament. Well, I've never raced with any of these people, so I can't say anything, but is it such a large grid. I might say there might be a tiny bit of carnage, especially in the mid-pack, but we'll have to see otherwise. I'll be honest though, Paul, your name does sound very similar. Not similar, what's the word? Familiar. Oh my days, I am struggling. Alright, as we just get ready here for... the first, well not the third race here at PLR for the World Tour here on the Mondays, as we do see quite a big grid here going across the line now, as we are about to see green light here, as it is now green here as they all start to accelerate, but they do seem already 3 wide, as it seems a lot of people got a better start than others. We do see a 4 wide there. Seems Phil trying to stay out of the trouble as we go further back through the grid. It does seem Dean's got us already forced going side by side, going further down the grid. We do see, unfortunately, a tiny bit of carnage there that is going to cause quite a few cars to be collected, including Greg Ellis, I saw. And that is a lot more carnage than I thought, but that does seem people's tyres will be, unfortunately, a bit more fried than usual, as we do see Greg Ellis, unfortunately, getting collected in the incident, but we'll go back to the racing for the time being. So we do see Vil already making a tiny bit of a gap, but it's not enough, as we do see Dean has fallen down a position there from Ben Crook. So we'll have to see what happened there. So let's see now, a few cars are still battling with each other. It's just a huge slipstream chain at the moment, obviously waiting for straight shares. We do see a side-by-side here. We do see the EBM Porsche trying to go side-by-side with the Aston Martin there of Meguro, and it seems he's going to try and force the inside line, but backs out last second there. Obviously, we also have Anthony Fox in the Monster Energy Brotherhood Ferrari as well, just behind him. Quite a few cars there. However, we do see Adam Long trying to go side by side, not trying to, has gone side by side there with the E3 Lamborghini, and manages just to get past just before the end of the hairpin. Good work there from him. However, we do go further back there, and we do see Jacob losing 2 positions there. I don't know what just happened there, but it seems he might have taken a bit of the wrong line going through there. However, we do see Morna trying to get closer there, as we do see he tries to go side by side, whoever that is, number 12. Just going side by side, but obviously has the inside line going into the final corner, as we do see the McLaren's also going to try and get that move time. It seems the BMW did just lose quite a few positions going into the first corner. It's going to be very unfortunate there for Craig Sweeney. We're now on to the first part of the straight here for the lap 2, as it does seem we're going to see side by side here. Adam Long obviously again collected in the unfortunate incident with most of the cars, so we see in the bottom of the pack now to go further back, and we do see another side by side E3 getting more pressure there from the Porsche there. Oh, I'm going to say that's a 32 of Tesoldi. So, well, that was worse than you expected. Yeah, that was worse than I expected as well, but unfortunately that is something that does happen in pretty much all of league racing. But unfortunately, it's just something that you're going to have to deal with and just hope for the best when going through stuff like that. Chris Boardman, though, in the Napa Aston Martin, trying to go side by side. Unfortunately, tapping there at the McLaren of Morna, and they both go collectionally, both in together once again, and now they're both spun out there on. That's very unfortunate. They're going into turn 8. That is very unfortunate. It doesn't seem Morna has continued, as he is now reversing, but it does seem Chris Boardman does get away quicker there from Morna. Very unfortunate there for Morna to be collected in the incident that he had no control in. However, we do see Adam Long once again just going against with the E3 car. Obviously, there's a few E3 cars here, one light and the one dark blue car, both in the Lamborghinis. However, we might see a bit of a switch back, but no, he forces the outside line, goes for the overspeed, but obviously won't have the better traction going into the end of the corner. Manages to stick the move though, but obviously the E3 does have the... Oh, as we do see, what on earth just happened there? That is a huge incident, as we will just quickly see a bit of a replay there. Obviously, Daniel Montero, as it seems, the McLaren just spins there, going into the wall. That is absolutely horrendous, but it seems Daniel Montero and the other Aston Martin does just get away. But that is going to be a lot of damage there for all 3 of those cars there. Nico carrying a lot of damage to the front of that car. That's the most open bonnet I've ever seen in ACC in my life. And that's going to be very bad there. Welcome in Leon to the chat. You probably came in at the wrong time, I'll be honest. We do see though the Porsche once again in the EBM trying to go to move that on Adam Long. Adam Long obviously trying to get away and try to get the slipstream back from Verbovin in the Brotherhood Racing Yeah, you really did, but I'll give them in. I'm so glad I'm an R3E student, not an ACC. Yes. Just imagine doing stewarding for an open lobby. It's not lap 1, so it's not my problem. Yeah, fair. Horrendous, yeah. It does seem we did see another car going very slow. That was weak. I'm trying to get on board with him there, but it seems he does just go back on track again. But it does seem he is losing some positions as we do see a side-by-side here, but we also might see a free wide here going in to the first corner, as we might see. Seems the Ferrari tries to get the inside line, but doesn't achieve to, and might get a track cut there for taking the outside line with so much speed. Being forced off the track there, it seems, just a tiny bit. I think the McLaren does keep the pace for the time being. However, we do see Aston Martin also trying to get involved with this, but it doesn't seem at the moment Vink is going to be able to get past Woke Tour for the time being. Just casual sees a car going straight into all. No comment. Go further back, and Rennes has also the car that was involved with the incident I remember seeing, as he tries to go side by side here. Not tries to, going side by side there with the BMW. Manages to get the move done. I feel like that was a bit of a let go move there from the BMW. Seems that is the only BMW not carrying much damage at the moment. We go through here with Jeffrey Witt trying to get on the slipstream there of the 15 Porsche. Doesn't seem to go with the move, going into the hairpin. Very good to see, but we do see a slow car ahead. I have no idea who that is, and I can't see a yellow flag with it. Seems he is moving again, as you can see on the track map as we go past. And it seems it is a green Porsche there. Seeing Jeffrey Witter getting a position there of P20 for the time being. Standard ACC things, yeah. Go further down again as we do see Tom Week trying to get past. I think that's Max RS and the Porsche. Does seem losing a tiny bit of time going into the S's there, which isn't going to be the greatest for him, obviously. But we do see him getting ever so closer as we go further up, and we do see Sajin Belekic, one of the 5, just getting the move done there on Tudor in the McLaren, and trying to get a bit of a gap between them both. However, he does seem he has a Simic in front of him to try and get past as well, and it seems he is on the rear of Simic. So we go into the first the first 7 minutes of this race, 53 left to go. Oh, I hurt you, Paul. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's because I do you worse. Like, I feel like installing ACC again is worse than dropping a 50 kg package on top of you. However, though, car that is just ever so creeping there on Belekic in the McLaren. So you can see that McLaren from about 5 miles away. No need for traffic cones when you see that. Seems the track temperature is slowly rising, just up 1 degree then from earlier. 46 degree track temperature. Obviously with the spinnings we saw earlier. We do see though the McLaren also getting a lot closer there than what we have seen earlier, as we go on the back there, as he does try to pull out for a side-by-side move there, as he is going for it to go side-by-side into the first corner. It does seem the Ferrari still has the inside line and takes the racing line. However, we do see the McLaren of Tudor trying to go side-by-side once again. He goes for a bit of a juke but doesn't go with it. So it seems Renato does not actually fall for it at all. However, we do see the Mercedes just getting a bit of oversteer behind him. That is going to cause for some more drama here between these two drivers, as we do see Michael Lawson in the background as well, trying to get involved with this, trying to drag the Sky Tempest Mercedes back a tiny bit. It seems it is working a tiny bit, but he is trying to catch up there with the McLaren, as we do see a lot of pressure there from Michael Lawson to try get it back on the position, but it doesn't seem it's working just yet for him. So we go further down, and we do see Smart trying to get past that with Tresoldi. It doesn't seem to be working just yet though. It's just going to have to wait a few more corners to try and make a move. Obviously quite close, but not close enough to make a safe move for the time being, as we do go further up the grid. And seeing what we see, nothing seems to be working. However, we do see this is a battle for the lead. Both Bentley shirts, seems Dean has falling off a tiny bit on the pace wise, but it's still quite close to them both. It does seem they are doing absolutely mental lap times here. Ben Crook, sorry, obviously having the fastest lap time here of 1:31.4 for the time being. So we do see him trying to put a lot of pressure there on Verl for the lead of this race as he tries to go for side-by-side move early, but just backs out a tiny bit. That's going to cost him a lot of time. They're going into the first corner. It's still around a 4/10 gap between them both. Obviously, this will probably be going on for quite a while, this battle, because they're very similar pace between them both. Just about 2/10 of a lap time between them both. He's probably stole unfairness. His name is Crook after all. Yeah, you know what? We'll go with that. Michael Lawson once again, though, seems to got past the Mercedes behind him a few corners ago, and now putting a lot of pressure there on Blekic to try and get this move done. Trying to get in the top 10 is probably his goal for the time being. Want to try and get it done sooner than later because it just makes so many positions up so early. Obviously, there's so many trains happening. O'Dedery. I prefer that to O'Deary. That might be my new saying from now on. I'll give you credit, don't worry. Augustus, though, trying to get past the E3 Lamborghini. Doesn't seem to be working. However, yes, it is. He does just get so much better traction there and has the inside into both first spots of the corners. However, it seems the E3 did just back off a tiny bit there. So we do see two E3 cars behind him now. So that is two. That's double trouble, you could say, between them both. However, we do see the Mercedes of either trying to get past the McLaren. Obviously, the McLaren did get the move done. It's going side by side here into the first corner. We also see Michael Lawson trying to go for a move as well. We go further back and see Michael Lawson does just get the move done there on the, what should I call it, the high-vis car. Is there going to be any sort of retaliation here from Blekic for the time being? It doesn't seem he's going to be able to make any sort of move happen just yet, but we'll have to see further on into the race, because obviously pit stops is such a major part of this, as there has been a battle for the lead for quite a bit of time now. Obviously these two cars very similar pace, as we can see, just a bit of a lunge there from Ben Crook. But we do see if they battle too much like this, Dean will catch up quite a bit here. It seems Dean has caught up around a second and a half since I last checked on this battle, maybe a lap or so ago. So they are battling, so this is definitely affecting both of their pace here, because obviously Bill's having to defend, whereas Ben is also trying to have to attack, which is going to lose them both a lot of lap time there, which is causing Dean to get past in this battle once again. So this might be a three-way battle that will be brewing quite a lot soon, as we do see Link though trying to go side by side here in the Aston Martin, trying to break a tiny bit later than the McQueen livery. Doesn't seem to be working though, but has the better traction though, going on the outside here as they go side by side here into the first part of the straight, going into the first corner. Obviously has the inside line for this, but isn't seeming to do anything in McQueen's favour at the moment, as obviously the overspeed is in Binks' favour. But it does seem he messes up turn one a tiny bit. Is that going to lead McQueen to try and retaliate? It seems McQueen is going to try to retaliate, getting the inside line to turn one. Seems to work, but there's going to be a tiny bit of contact between both of them. O'Dedery, but it does seem both cars get away just fine. Does seem Vink is still trying to get past, but losing a tiny bit of time now. Seems McQueen car is just slowly but surely getting the pace on again. Try not to get Vink's pressure to lead to any bowl. But as we do see, again, Ben Crook is getting ever so slightly closer, but it's been around this gap for the last 14 or so minutes since I last checked. So yeah, it's definitely staying the same. But however, Dean is going to make this very much a plot twist during this race. He is just now about 0.8 of a second between them both, and obviously if he gets good enough exit with the traction going into the first corner, he might be able to get a slipstream here and just catch a lot of time here. It seems he does get a better exit here. He's not even going for the slipstream actually. Obviously these two cars are trying to fight here. It does seem Villa is going to go for the inside line. However, Ben's going to try and go for the outside line, or a switchback even. Both going side by side. It does seem Ben does get the better exit there, obviously going off a tiny bit, but it does seem that is the line. However, it does seem Ben Crick has just gotten the move done. However, there's going to be a bit of a switch back here. There is going to be a tiny bit of contact there. Vil just going into the bumper there of Ben, but does seem to get a move done for the time being. And now a pressure here of Dean for position. This is going to cause a bigger sort of battle between all three of these drivers, because obviously they're both, all three of them are very similar pace here. Obviously, if you didn't see qualifying, top two, Dean and Ben, not Ben Crick and Vil, were both separated by I think 5,000 for lap time. Ben Crick was a tiny bit further down in the lap time, but has redeemed himself quite a bit here, being in pole for the time being. 45 minutes left of this race. Obviously, pit stops are going to play such a major part during this race, as we will see the return of probably drive-through penalties and stop-go penalties, if so, because that is something that unfortunately drivers don't do a lot of preparation for. I found out is just going into the pit lane and trying to do a pit lane speed check and stuff, and trying to see where the best braking marker for it is. We do see Dean goes quite wide there. I don't know if that's going to be cut track, but we do just see Jeffrey Witter trying to go side by side. Lunges it for the move. It seems Witter does go very, very wide. They're going onto the gravel. They're going to lose a few positions there, even to his teammates. And it does seem Jeffrey is not going to be happy with that, losing 2 positions from trying to break a tiny bit later. However, we do see the Ferrari trying to go on the inside line of the Mercedes. Mercedes losing quite a few positions recently. I think his tyre life has just been worn off a tiny bit, going side by side here into the straight, trying to get the bump draft. Not the bump draft, the side draft there, going into the first corner. Seems the Ferrari's overspeed is going to be better, and he has the inside line here going into turn 1. However, we do see the Mercedes Sky Tempest does just break a tiny bit later, which causes him to go in front once again. However, are we going to see the Ferrari try to go for a juke move? We don't see him going to a juke move into turn 1 here. However, we might see going further into this race, we will just see this bout continuously going on for a while. The Sky Tempest Mercedes is quite good at defending, as we found over the past few laps, as he is unfortunately losing tyre life because he's battling so much here. So we have just seen Simic unfortunately get drive-through penalty. Not sure what that's going to be for. Seems he has done to pit lane, so I'm going to presume it's driving it, speeding through pit lane, as I was saying earlier. Something that not many drivers do prepare for, because obviously you can lose so much time, as we can see there. Probably that's going to be about 35 seconds, as we do see a bit of contact there. It's going to spin the Mercedes, but it does recover the Mercedes. No, he does not, and he goes into, oh dearie. Does seem that unfortunately the contact there of the Ferrari does cause the Mercedes to spin and hit the Audi there. That's going to be very unfortunate. However, we have seen Ben Crick trying to make a bit of a gap for himself, of a 1.1 second gap, trying to keep that pressure off him for the time being, as we do see Dean and Vil trying to battle it out. Just 0.8 of a second between them both. Can Dean try and make some sort of move going into this? You know what, I'm going to try to interact with chat a bit more, because I'm being absolutely neglecting chat, and I feel very bad here. However, is there actually going to be a move here? No, we'll see. What is your prediction for the top 3? Because obviously we've got 42 minutes left, so anything can happen during that race. We could probably see a midfielder, as we do see a side-by-side here with Declan and the E3 motorsport car. It seems it is trying to get a 3 wide there. Doesn't seem to be working. But what do you think your prediction for the top 3 is going to be, as we do see Declan going very wide there, leaving the Aston Martin to get past him there, unfortunately. Losing 2 positions in one corner there. Is he going to try and do some sort of retaliation? Doesn't seem at the moment he's in any eager rush to try and make it. So we have seen a second, was that a second? No, that's just 1 penalty, but my predictions is 3 cars will take the top 3. Okay. You know what? Yeah, sure. Well, you never know. We'll probably just not see any cars finish this race out. Then your prediction would be wrong. But I'm sure your prediction's quite so right. Guntus though, and the Aston Martin getting closer there to Itri, but is also getting a lot of pressure there from Dean Brogan behind him as well. So quite a bit of pressure here from both of them. However, we also do see a Porsche joining this battle. Quite a big battle here, about a 4-way train. For the time being, might see a 5-way train, as we do see a car going quite wide in the background there. By the moment, it seems he is just doing just fine, as we do see just trying to get the move done, forcing the inside line into the final corner. Obviously, a very sharp corner, so again, the inside line is crucial here, as the E3 does just let the move happen, but hasn't sort of any sort of retaliation here. Trying to get the slipstream though before Dean Brogan does. Dean Brogan seemed to get attacked here though. As we go into wing cam here, so it seems the slipstream is doing quite a good job here. Obviously, the same machinery just down to the driver and set up here now between both of them, as it seems there is a bit of a blunch, and it seems both cars go colliding with each other, and seems to just barely touches the wall there. We'll get a replay on what just happened there. It just seems he goes side by side going into the first corner. It seems he just makes a bit of a lunge there, which causes the two cars to collide with each other. It's going to cause both cars, and luckily that gravel trap slowed Dean Brogan down just enough so he doesn't make an absolutely catastrophic collision there with the wall as we go back further into this race. So we do just see though, this five-way battle is starting to get a bit more rowdy here. Dean Brogan managing to recover the car though. Yeah, that was very close. We'll have to continue seeing what's happening there, because obviously we do see Michael Austin as well though, trying to put pressure on both of these McLaren and Mercedes here, as we do see a side-by-side going into the final corner. Seems Ivo does just get the move done. Are we going to see any sort of retaliation here from McLaren? Doesn't seem he's going to do anything just yet. However, he does have the slipstream here. It seems Ivo did have the better exit and is gaining on the car behind him now, and creating quite a bit of a gap here, which is going to leave Michael Lawson trying to get closer to this car from McLaren. Between them both, obviously we do see Michael Lawson is getting quite close here between them both now, but it doesn't seem he's got to be getting close enough for any sort of move, but it's very, very close now, gaining quite a bit of time in turns 2 and 3. Losing a tiny bit of time from oversteer there, unfortunately, but we'll definitely see a lot of pressure here from Michael Austin to obviously a driver that is definitely a capable driver being in P9, as we do see Michael Austin just saving his car there from an oversteer spike on the curb. So we go further up through the grid, as we do see another side-by-side here. We see Bella trying to go side-by-side there with, I think that's, yeah, the number 13 McLaren's is going to be very close here. They seem to give enough, both of them enough racing space there. Does seem, he does just get the move done there for P7, P6 for the time being, as is Bella going to try and make any sort of move again, going into the final few corners. It seems though the 13 McLaren does just get away a bit more. And that's just going to be unfortunate there. Obviously pace is varying, obviously because of that huge crash that we saw at the start of this race. We do see Daniel Montaro and Eric battling. Is Daniel going to be able to make some sort of defense move here to try and get a really good exit here, not to lose too much time here from the slipstream, as it seems Eric is going to try to go side by side again. A really good slipstream here, again the side draft as well, going into the first corner, as we do see both of them going side by side. It does seem Eric does have the inside line for the time being. It seems Daniel Montero does the smart decision there and just lets it go. He doesn't want any sort of collision between them both. However, we do see a retaliation mark here from Daniel Montero, again the inside line of turn 1. Turn 2, sorry, but it does seem he gets the move done for the time being. Is Eric going to keep that for as this battle has been going? Seems he is still got a bump up there for turn 4. It seems he does just get the move slightly done, but Daniel Montero gets a very good traction there on the exit, leaving Eric in the dust for the time being. Is Eric going to have some sort of retaliation once again, as we also see, I think that's Brogan behind as well. I think that is going to be a lapped car for the time being, because obviously Brogan had that very unfortunate incident, but Brogan is quite fast here, which is leaving Eric to have to try and defend his space here, even though I think it is just a lapped car, which leaves Daniel Montero again quite a big gap between both of them. However, we do see Vink though getting closer though to Alavi there in the McLaren as we go into the final 36 minutes of this race. There is going to be a slipstream effect here. We have seen always the first straight here usually very good for the slipstream, as it doesn't seem he's gaining too much time for the time being. Now we see the slipstream effect happening. He's going to try lunge for a side by side. No, he doesn't. He just stays put and tries to get a better exit into turn 1. It seems both of them are in turn 1, but it seems Vink loses a tiny bit of time there to try and get P4, but obviously the pressure is going to get to Alavi at some point. This is why we're going to see a lot of people starting to pit for tyres. Not for tyres, sorry, for fuel, as it's only a fuel mandatory pit race here. So we do just see that the slipstream is starting to work there. in Vink's favour. Not too much so at the time being, but obviously this is where he just needs to try and stay on the back of him as much as he can. Obviously the straight will help him out and assist him for the rest of it, to try and get past him to turn 1. So he has no rush, obviously 35 minutes and a pit stop, so if he nails the pit stop, he might be able to make the undercut here on Olavi. But at the moment it seems he is still playing the long game and trying to just put pressure there. Classic move to try and get a driver to force into a mistake. However, we do see Felipe Morna here trying to put a bit more pressure there, as we have just seen in 14 to 28. Audi has just gotten a second drive-through penalty for this race. Not for him, but collectively between all the cars. But that is only because a handful of cars have actually pit so far. However, we do see the Sky Tempest Mercedes also trying to get involved with this action. Obviously, Morna hasn't pitted yet, so this is just to try and get past the net places as quickly as possible. So it seems he gets past that car just fine there, as we do see him now battling with the Audi for now. Seems he is just going to try and go for a bit of a lunge, but doesn't seem to work just yet for him. Does just go side by side here, going through the S's. Seems he isn't going to do too much time there. Goes very wide there. Unfortunately, it seems the Audi didn't leave him too much space there. Don't think he's going to be having. They both make contact with each other. That is going to be very unfortunate there. And it seems Anthony has retired from the race. Rage quitting a bit there. I think that's what happened, but that's very unfortunate there. Just a bit of oversteer and getting collected in the incident. However, we do see Itri as well in the E3 Racing Lamborghini getting closer there to the back of the EMB Porsche number 15 car. We have just seen an unfortunate barrier incident. I'm kind of confused what happened there, as that is seems to be the S's and just had a bit of damage before, and we get the best camera angle for what happened, and we get absolutely no clue what happens there. But it seems he might have taken too much sausage curb. No, he just spins on his own there, unfortunately, just hitting the barrier there quite hard, which is going to leave him with quite a bit more damage, as it seems he's trying to limp the car to pit lane to try and get the damage fixed. Obviously he hasn't done his pit stop yet, so he shouldn't lose too much time, but that is a very... He's also got his wiper on, it's that broken. But that's unfortunately a very sociable bonnet there, as I call it, because it's talking. Michael Lawson trying to go on the move here with the Mercedes. Doesn't seem to get the move done on Ivo that quickly yet. Seems though he's going to try force the inside line here going into the first corner. Does just make a bit of a juke, but Ivo does not fall for it just yet. As we also do see the McLaren of Tudor also coming back from the dead as well. Obviously, I don't think they've done their pit stop. No one has done their pit stop in the top 23 yet. I'm not sure about the rest just yet, as we go into 32 minutes left of this race. Now we do see them, all three of them, still fighting. It seems Michael Lawson is losing a tiny bit of time there, and same with Tudor. However, he does have the slipstream now. Is he going to try force the inside line going into the hairpin? Seems he is just going to back off and play a sensible game and wait for straight. Obviously, the slipstream seems to be working quite well in cars at the moment. We'll just have to wait until whatever happens now. Just going a tiny bit wide there, it seems, but just manages to keep the car stable, as we do see him trying to go for a bit of a lunge here. A little bit of a juke move there, doesn't go for it yet. Obviously, this is where Tudor will actually lose quite a bit of time, as we just seen Zorik get forced into a mistake there, into a drive-through penalty due to free track limits there. That's going to be very unfortunate there for him. And that also seems like the McLaren gets a bit wide there, losing quite a bit of time trying to get closer there to Michael Lawson. Michael Lawson getting the position done now. Done and dusted for the time being. Obviously, he's got the drive-through penalty to serve as well, which he's not going to be too happy about. You just see Michael Lawson now playing his own game for the time being. So we go back and see Dean is still putting some pressure on Vil. Vil not being too happy right now. Obviously, he had pole, but has lost pole for the time being. But obviously, they haven't done pit stops yet. Major part goes into pit stops. Anything can happen. You can accidentally put new tyres on. You can accidentally put too little fuel. You can accidentally speed in the pit lane. Anything can happen, which can lose seconds yet, and they don't have that much of a gap between them both. Obviously, even leaving the ignition off or just getting moved on the ramps there, that can all lead up to like 10 seconds of wasted time there. So there's a lot of time there just from little errors that can happen. A bit close in time between these boats, however, we do see now currently Brotherhood Racing Monster Energy 296 is getting a bit closer as we just entered the final half of this race. This is where we're going to see a lot of people starting to do their pit stops, since we have just seen Colombo in P26 getting a stop go 30-second penalty there. Not going to be very impressed there for him, as we are starting to see a decrease in track temperature now. It's down to 44 degrees from 47 that we saw earlier, as we do see him just trying to put a bit of pressure there on the EBM Porsche, but not putting too much pressure on it just yet. Obviously 29 minutes and the pit stop to try do, so there's a lot of things that can go wrong in this race that have gone wrong for a few drivers now, fortunately, as we do see these are the people who have pitted and are now trying to battle for position. So we do see a big lunge there, and Lorenzo doing a very good move there, but it's going very wide there now, causing the E3 driver there to go side by side, once again getting the inside line. So the S is now getting forced there by the other E3 driver here. This is going to be very difficult here for the Porsche to try and narrow through. It seems Itri gets back in the place just for the time being. However, he's going to try to go for a bit of a lunge there, going into the S's, duking himself out a tiny bit. Very good way to put yourself in the mirrors and just put a bit of pressure there on the driver. Seems he is going to try to go for a bit of move there, going into the final corner, getting the inside line. However, the E3 driver does brake a bit later there, because the Lamborghini is better on the brakes than usual, and it does seem the other E3 car and Adam Long both go in the pits. I think that is Adam Long. Both in the pits for the time being. However, we do see Lorenzo still trying to put some pressure there on the other E3 driver, flashing his lights a tiny bit. I don't know if that was flashing of the lights or a bit of a bug. The graphic glitch could have been. So we do see him losing a tiny bit of time there to Itri. But it's not too much time yet to worry about, but we will just have to see further on into the future if he will lose too much time, as it seems he gets a very good line there going into turns 4 and 5 there. Seems he is gaining a tiny bit. This seems where his strongest is about the end of sector 1 here, just on the rear of that bumper now, trying to look for a move there. Going into turn 7 isn't going to work for him just yet, as he is going to now get the slipstream here. He is indicating that on the right there, so I don't know what that means, if he's trying to let him go or just put a bit of tomfoolery on him there. Seems like, I think that's an accidental indicator. I don't think that is representing anything at all. He still has the indicator on, which is definitely going to put him off a tiny bit there. This is obviously for position, so anything can happen, as he does get a very good line there going into the S. It's all over the back there of Itri. Is he going to try to go for a move here going into the final corner? It seems it goes a bit too wide there to try and think of a move. But now has the slipstream here going into turn 1 here, trying to get the slipstream. Doesn't seem to be working just yet, having a bit of a worse exit there for him. Yeah, distraction, that's what I was thinking actually. A bit of distraction. It seems he does have a bit of an understeer moment there, which is going to let the Porsche go side by side here with him going into first corner. It seems he gets moved on just before, but he did have the benefit of the inside line there, as we also do see some traffic there going on tracks as well, as we go into the last 26 minutes of this race here, as he's all over the back there of the Ferrari. That does seem to be a back marker, so that's another step in this race that makes the difficulty just a tiny bit more harder, because as we do see Declan Brogan, unfortunately the car that did have a bit of a moment there with another Porsche, again probably going to have a bit of a PTSD attack with another Porsche, hoping not to get any sort of incident with this Porsche now. I reckon it is quite a good distraction actually, because it does put you off a tiny bit. I think that's what happened there, as we do. What's just happened there? We're going to have to get a replay there, as it does seem the Porsche is going. I don't think this has anything to do with the Porsche. It does seem that the Lamborghini E3 driver is just ahead there. It seems if we go further back there, it does seem there's just a bit of a spin there, but the Aston Martin just going extremely slow on the racing line there. I feel like that was just a bit of contact between the E3 Lamborghini and the Aston Martin, which caused that, and it's going to be very unfortunate for the rest of the cars. However, we have seen Ben Crook now pit, so this is now where Dean is going to try and make some sort of moves here on Ville to try get into the lead of this race. Ben Crook only down in P8 though, but obviously all of the top 7 drivers all have the pits, so which will put Ben Crook back into net P1. but he might still have a tiny bit of... Yeah, it was quite bad chaos, as we saw a bit earlier there. But that's unfortunately what just happened there. As we do see Adam Long, though. Hopefully not trying to make chaos here with Simic. 24 minutes left of this race now. Been quite an interesting race. Still quite a few battles here on track. Great to see so many battles. I've always had a good broadcasting time at Valencia. Always action-packed between them, as we do see a four-way battle here. As we do see the leader there, seeming to overlap these cars now. Leader now still under pressure there from Dean, as we'll see in a minute. However, we do see Tudor to try and get past here. Bella in the McQueen livery. At the moment, it seems they are just on the back of each other. Same machinery as I always see, so this is going to make it just extra hard, as it seems he has the inside line here going to the final corner now. Seems McQueen just goes a tiny bit too fast, and it does seem just not leaving enough space there for the McLaren, and it does seem there was a bit of a spin there, but managed to recover it quite well there. But now has the attack there of the traffic cone of Bellic behind him as well. Is there going to be any sort of hatred between these two drivers now? Hopefully not, but that's unfortunately something that has happened during this race, and I feel like he managed to execute it, well, just not spinning out. Maybe execute's not the right word. However, we do see Adam Long hopefully not trying to end in chaos, swerving out to the outside line there to try and duke off the Ferrari. Doesn't seem to be working out, as we do see Magiro is well behind him, trying to get past these two drivers. Obviously, Magiro having quite an up and down race here. So we do see Adam Long all over the nose there of the Ferrari, trying to get past at any point he possibly can. As you can see, that Audi is just a tiny bit on the damage side, as we have just seen another incident there, but it seems the incident has cleared up further down the track. So you do see Adam Long losing a tiny bit of time there, but obviously this is where the slipstream will help. But as this also see, we do see Magiro as well, also part of this battle now. So this is where it's going to be a three-way battle. This is going to be a tiny bit of a slipstream chain here. Does seem the Audi does get the better exit here, but also has the slipstream here. Obviously, we do see Simic going for the inside line here, defending his spot as much as he can now. So we do see Adam Long trying to go side by side here, going into the first corner, trying to get the better line there for Adam. Seems to just back out a tiny bit there, as we also do see Magiro as well, trying to go on the move there with Adam. It seems to be working, but just pulls out last second there. Bit chaos there. Saw that one coming from this view. Yeah, it's a lot of battles here so far. Some of them very chaotic. So do just see Adam Long though still all over that Ferrari. Just see, I'm just using this for slipstream perspective and see how much he's gaining on this Ferrari, as the Ferrari does just understeer there a tiny bit, over and understeer. You can see untailing the car a tiny bit. Now just under pressure from Magiro. It seems Magiro does just get the move done. Is there going to be any sort of retaliation here from the Ferrari? There is going to be a bit of retaliation, but obviously Magiro does have the inside line, so he just gets the move done there. Obviously not as much grip outside on the outside line than there is on the inside. Seems he's now under pressure here from the E3 driver, which isn't good here. He's about to lose 3 positions, unfortunately. And possibly 4. Daniel Montero also in the background, having quite a safe race at the moment, as we do see Simic going very wide. Is that going to be a track cut? So we do see him all over the back there, going side by side here with the other E3 Lamborghini. It seems he just lets him go there. And now we do see Daniel Montero gaining quite a bit of time here. However, we do see him go all over the back here of the Lamborghini. However, this Lamborghini is a back marker, it seems. I don't think it's a back marker. I feel like he's a in front marker, as he seems he's going side by side with him. Once again, Daniel Montero trying not to get involved with this business, because he knows this might go wrong from a mile away, as we do see a tiny bit of an understeer moment there from the Ferrari. Simic and Montero both in position now. So we do see him just improving a tiny bit here, going into sector 1 now. Does just seem Montero putting a lot of pressure here on Simic, but at the moment it doesn't seem to be too much. It just seems he's braking a tiny bit later, which is causing him to get very close here onto the rear of this car of Simic. Do you see him just losing a tiny bit of time with Montero, but now has the slipstream for this very short straight? Is there going to be any sort of move here? Are we going to see Simic trying to defend this, as we do see Montero just back off a tiny bit? How wide are track limits into T1? People, yes, you can go very, very wide into turn 1, but it's turn 2, turn 3. very strict. You can, so turn 1 you can use all of the AstroTurf that is provided to you into turn 1. However, turn 2 you cannot do the same. Same with turn 3. If you go 2 wheels off track at all, it is going to be an invalidation or a track cut if you do that into turn 2. But turn 1, I will show you in a minute, you can go very wide here. As we do see now, Daniel Montero is just all over the back of Simic here. Is he going to try and make a move? Obviously has a slipstream here, gaining quite a bit here going into turn 1. Is he going to try go for a turn 1 move here, or just back out and wait? Seems he is going to try and force the inside line here going into turn 1, as it seems. Now Simic does have the inside line. As you can see, the AstroTurf here, using all of the AstroTurf. It just seems that might have been a bit too much there. However, that is not the line there from the Lamborghini, oversteering a tiny bit. As you can see, every car using all of the AstroTurf. You can hear though, you can't go 2 wheels off there. That will be a invalidation or a track cut here. But obviously he's under quite a bit of pressure, which isn't helping him. Daniel Montero again just putting a lot of pressure here going on to the 19th minute of the race. Both of these cars have pitted now for their fuel here, as we do see Daniel just putting a bit of a juke move there on Simic for the time being. As it seems he goes on once again for the slipstream. He is a lot closer than he has ever been here. Is he going to try to defend the inside line? It seems he does. Daniel Montero trying to find any way past he can possible. He's going to try to go for a bit of a switcheroo. He does seem to go for it, but it seems Simic does just close the door off there for him. Going into the S's now, the only time is he can just stay on the back of this car now and just waiting for his opportunity. Obviously this has been happening for a few laps now, but this is the closest battle on track for the time being. As we do see Tom Week though also going very close with another car. We'll have to see a replay on that in a minute. Do you see both of these drivers again? Are they going to try to go side by side? They are going side by side, and it seems Daniel Montero is going to force the inside line here going into the final corner. Seems Simic does just oversteer a tiny bit there and stabilizing the car a tiny bit. And it does seem Daniel Montero, very well done to him, getting the move done, going into P14 for the time being. Obviously is going to cut off a few drivers as well, as we have seen Dean has gone into pit lane here, but is currently ahead of Ben Crook here. I wonder what happened to Ben Crook, that he's further behind than Dean there. I'm kind of confused on what happened there, but that is putting less and less pressure there on Dean, but that is going to put more pressure on Ben Crook to try and win this race. Obviously we did see him in P3, but he managed to lead quite a bit at the start of this race here. However, we do see the E3 driver at Lamborghini versus Lamborghini, which you don't see that often. Robert Jennings trying to get past in the FE Racing Team. I'm hoping that's not what I think it stands for, as it seems he is too far away for any sort of slipstream. It doesn't seem he's going to try to go for the slipstream either. Just kind of putting himself in the mirrors there. Obviously still 17 minutes of the race. Both of these drivers have pitted, so they don't need to worry for tyres or fuel. You know, it's only a fuel mandatory pit stop here, so we do see a lot of a gain there from Itri there, going into turn 1 and 2 now. Does seem now he is just losing a tiny bit of time there to Robert Jennings. Robert Jennings trying not to get the pressure to him. Do you see though another yellow flag? That is a huge incident there. Greg Ellis unfortunately involved with that incident as well, going into turn 1. We'll just have to see what happened there. It seems going side by side there. Brotherhood Racing and the test livery going side by side. It does seem there's just a bit of a tag there from the Brotherhood Racing, which has caused the McLaren and the Ferrari there of Greg Ellis to be involved in that incident. That is very unfortunate for both of them. However, we also do see a side by side going into first corner. Gustus trying to go side by side here with Simic. It is going to be in favour of Gustus. Obviously has the inside line. It seems to do it cleanly this time, and it seems Gustus does just get the move done for the time being. But we got to see any sort of retaliation there, as I always see from the Simic. At the moment, it doesn't seem there is going to be any sort of retaliation. Obviously, still 16 minutes, so still enough time to try and get it done. Poor Greg again. Yeah, Greg's not had the luckiest race here. Fortunately, being collected in a few instances, and I feel very bad for him. As we do see, though, Beckett in the high-vis livery, as I'm now calling it, getting ever so closer to Bella once again. This has been happening for some time. Tudor managing to gain a bit of a gap between Bella and Tudor himself. Tudor, who was just racing earlier, but obviously all of these top 6 drivers, sorry, haven't paid yet, so this isn't the actual position yet. Do you see though Adam Long trying to go for a move here, going side by side into the final corner? It seems he does force it. Is there going to be a switcheroo there from Verbovin? It doesn't seem he is. He's going into the pits though to try and get some sort of under or overcut here. Going in the pit. We haven't seen any more penalties just yet. I'm not trying to give anyone a commentator's curse. Do not worry. Chris Broadman though also trying to get involved with these two Lamborghini battles, putting some pressure there on the E3 Racing to try and get the pace on a tiny bit to try and get past Robert Jennings. Do you see though Chris Broadman trying to go for looking for a move there going into the final part of sector 2? Seems now obviously this mini straight, if you get a good enough traction you can try go side by side there. Obviously the indicator distraction as we saw earlier is still on. It's like going to catch Chris Broadman off guard a tiny bit. It catches himself off guard a tiny bit, just oversteering a bit in the Lamborghini, but it does seem Chris Broadman's going to be all over him now, trying to go for the inside, well, the outside line here. It's not going to work. Is he going to try go for the move? He is going for the move, gets a better exit here into the start of the straight here as we go on. Seems she's going side by side. Is Chris Broadman going to get the move done before the end of the straight as we go into turn 1? This is a very sketchy corner going side by side, and seems Chris Broadman is still getting the favour here of the inside line of turn 2 as well. Is it going to work in his favour? Hopefully it does. Very sharp angle turning, so you want the inside line here for this corner. It seems Chris Broadman just gets the move done. Any sort of retaliation though from Itri we'll have to see in the next few laps, as we also do see a Ferrari swacking up the M6 of Craig Sweeney, I think that is as well. Further down the grid. Juicy Dean though trying to get past, which is very good for him actually, that he's caught up to the traffic that hasn't actually pitted yet. They are probably going to pit on the last lap, I feel. Last few laps, that's what we usually see from cars finally in the races. We do see though Dean getting very close there to Bally. You don't really need to be fighting with these cars. Obviously he's trying to get closer to Ville there. Obviously about a 16-second gap. If he can keep this gap up, and if Bella doesn't hold him up too much, he might be onto the pole here, but we'll have to see. Obviously all comes down to the pit as well. We do see, or it's actually about, it's very very close actually, as we do see it seems Dean just gets the move done. That it's very close. It's going to be around a 30 or so second gap between Dean. Dean also getting a lot of pressure here unfortunately from Bella, but obviously he can do that. This is 4th position, but obviously this is net position at the moment. Dean is net P1 just probably by a few tenths, but if he keeps getting distracted like this, it's not going to help him. I'm going to do the maths in my head, and it seems 32 is very close between them, but at the moment Ville, unless he does just somehow mess up his pit stop a tiny bit, this is going to be, Dean needs to be careful and not clip Bella, to be honest. Yeah, I feel like Dean's not going to be happy that he's being behind Bella for this long, because obviously Bella is going to hold him up because he's net P1 for the time being, but is very close between them both, and we'll have to see into the final laps when Ville does pit, as we haven't seen him coming into the pit just yet as he goes into the final part of sector 2 there. But we have just seen Tudor unfortunately doing all of that work for nothing, spins out into the S's there. I feel like he might have just unsettled the car there as he goes into the corner. It just seems understeers a tiny bit, goes on the wrong part of the curb, unsettles the McLaren suspension. Unfortunately goes to the gravel trap there. He's not going to be happy with that. All the way up into P4, losing all of those positions, so that's one less position there for Dean. It seems he goes back on the grass there, losing some more time there. Tony going into the pits now. So we do see a huge battle here. Dean trying to get past Bella again, trying to be a tiny bit more aggressive there. He gets the move done. Does not seem Bella's happy with that move, but I don't think Dean's also very happy, as this is going to be very heated here. As we do see Bella once again getting the inside line for turn 3. It seems Dean just launches it there and gets past him. Once again, very good battling from both of these drivers here, and it does seem Bella does get past Dean once again for the time being, as we have seen no sort of result here from Ville to go into the pit just yet. 10 minutes left of this race. Is he going to go into the pit this lap? Obviously this will be the time to pit, as there's quite a big gap now between both of them. He's not going to pits just yet. He's going to play it, wait as long as he can. Obviously these gaps that are happening now, Dean will be in net P2, but at the moment we do see all of these cars are just going with each other, as we do see Tuda trying to get these positions up as much as he can, going with Vink here to try to get P9 here, obviously all the way up in P4, but now unfortunately losing quite a bit of time there trying to get past these cars. Daniel Montero though trying to put some pressure here on Magiro, a driver that did manage to get past him earlier in the race here, going into sector 2 now. This is actually sector 1, I apologise, but going into sector 2 now-ish. So do you see a yellow flag there? I don't know who that car is, but it seems Colombo has gone off there into the gravel trap. I'm going to presume that is just a bit of greedy throttle, as we have just seen virtually P33 of Jacob has gone a drive-through. Yeah, Dean not best pleased on his stream. Yeah, I'm not surprised. He's probably under quite a bit of pressure here to try and win this race for round 3 here, but this is all part of racing. Obviously, Bella isn't obliged to have to let go of the position, because obviously they're still on the same lap, so there won't be any sort of blue flags. But obviously Dean is on pole, well, was on pole at the moment. The gaps are increasing quite steadily here in Ville's favour. It's just all that Dean can pray for at the moment. His pace can pick up a tiny bit, try closer gaps down, or even better for him, Ville has an issue with pit stops here, as we do see Daniel Montero getting ever so closer here though, once again on Eric, as we do see he does get a better exit here. Daniel is going to try go side by side once again. It seems he is going to try force the outside line, which is something I haven't seen before, as he didn't give any sort of room there on the inside. He gave quite a lot of room there on the inside line as an invitation. So we see Daniel getting very unsteady there in the portion. Now going to have some sort of issue there with Gustas here, who he has been fighting for before, and now he is going to get past here. Unfortunately, that is going to lead him to go down into P14 once again. He's going to have to try to get this position done and try to get position on P12 done as well, as it seems Daniel Montero is not going to be very happy with himself there with the bit of understeer that he just got. As we do see Dean once again fine with all of this traffic. He wants to try to get, as we have just seen, Ville is in the pit lane and he has gone down to P3, so this is where we start to see the issue starting happening, as we will see the top 3 need to pit very soon here, and the gap between Dean and Ville or net P1 at the moment is around 12 seconds, which isn't when there is 18 seconds actually, I apologize, which isn't great here for Dean, and obviously he has these cars to try and pass as quickly as possible, so it's not going to be very happy Dean here for the time being. But we'll just have to see and keep notes on what happens here as we go further down. Augustus again gaining quite a bit of a gap there, and Daniel Montero seems he is going to try put some pressure there on Magira, something Daniel Montero wasn't able to do, obviously due to the bit of understeer and the oversteer he got at the time. However, we do see Dean once again putting pressure here on the high-vis McLaren. He has now got the slipstream here, but we also see Ben Crick part of this as well. Ben Crick obviously was leading this race for a while down in P6, but also has the fastest lap here. Dean losing quite a lot of time here from the McLaren here, so this has caused Ben Crick to get a lot of time here, as we do see Dean tries to get the inside line here, as we also do see Bentley as well does get the inside line, and he does have a lot of, he is getting the slipstream here going into turn 1. Is it going to be 3 wide? I feel like Ben Crick does know better than that, to not go too 3 wide there, as it seems Dean goes very wide there, which causes Ben Crick to go past him. Unfortunately there for him, Dean is not going to be pleased with himself there, and that's going to be Dean down another position, sadly for him, to go further up and further down, sorry, as we do see Gustus as well getting a bit of an attack move here from Daniel Montero as well. Just about 5 tenths between them both, going into the final 6 minutes of this race now, as we do go further down, sorry, as we do see Christophe trying to get a move done on E3 Motorsports Lamborghini here going into the first corner. Is there going to be some sort of retaliation move here? Very close between them both, obviously. He goes quite wide there, which does lead Michael Lawson to nearly get past him as well, as we see Michael Lawson does get past him actually. But obviously this is just for lap cars here. Michael Lawson is trying to get past these lap cars as safely as he can without losing too much time. But at the moment he is losing quite a bit of time going into the final few corners of Sector 1 now. Gustus now is putting a lot of pressure here, going on to a new lap. Only a few laps left of this race now. getting ever so close to the back of the Aston Martin at the moment. Doesn't seem he is losing too much time between them both, so we just have to keep an eye out on what's happening between these two drivers, because they have very similar pace. However, we do see a side-by-side going into the Sector 2 straight here. This isn't Gusta's favour. Obviously, he has the inside line to this very serious angled corner here. However, we do see Maguro trying to get a bit of a later break there, but unfortunately it seems he lost the position there, and Gustus does get past him for the time being, as we do see Itri going 3 wide here going into the final corner here. Chris Boardman trying to get part of this action as well. Is he going to try to go for the inside line here? He does seem to try get the inside line, but that's not a good idea to go 3 wide here. Obviously Chris Boardman does have the slipstream of both of these cars, so it's going to be quite strong here for him going into the first corner. Now we do see a side by side here, and we're not going to see this 3 wide, I hope, as that will never work, as we do see Chris Boardman getting a lot more time there on the E3 driver, and it does seem he has the inside line. However, we also see the other 2 McLarens also getting past as well. It seems the E3 driver just gets very slow going into turn 2 there. It seems he lost about 5 positions there in one corner, just due to a tiny bit of understeer and having to go quite slow into turn 1. That's going to be very unfortunate for him, as we also see Tudor as well trying to gain some positions there. Obviously this is further down in the grid here, so we will see a few cars becoming a bit slower now. Daniel Montero though trying to gain some time there, and Magiro very close here going into the final part of sector 1. He's been putting, well, he was trying to put pressure on Magiro about, I'm going to say 15 minutes ago, but unfortunately had a bit of an oversteer moment going into turn 1 and lost 2 positions there, and now managed to gain back the 2 positions, and now has to try deal with the pressure of Magiro in his mirrors if he manages to get past him. So I'm quickly going to go open my window as it's boiling in my room. Oh gosh, now it's freezing. I've got the window right next to me, as we do see Daniel Montero as well, very close. Is it me, or has it just gone really echoey? Hang on, what's happened here? Why's my soundproofing stopped? It doesn't sound echoey in stream, does it? Because I think it was just the curtain was a tiny bit open. But hopefully it's not echoing too... Oh, it sounds really echoey. Where's the echo coming from? Uh-oh. Hopefully that sounds a tiny bit better. I just put a tiny bit more soundproofing in front of me. It does sound better in my thing. I feel like it was that cam that was doing some reverb. But hopefully it's better now on stream, as we do see Daniel Montero trying to put a lot more pressure, go on to the final 2 laps here of the race. We do see him trying to go side by side here with Magiro, who forces the inside line, but Simi just backs out a tiny bit there going into the fast corner. This goes into turn 3 now, goes for the inside line. It gets the inside line there and has the inside line into the next corner as well. He's going to get the move done. Magiro getting a lot of speed there through this corners, going through the outside line, but now has the inside line going into this corner. Is there going to be any sort of switch back here from Daniel Montero? Looks for it, but loses a bit too much time there going into this, as we go into the little short straight here in sector 2. It seems Daniel Montero is too far back to try and get the slipstream effect here going into this short, but he does gain a lot of time there going into the hairpin there, going into the final corner here of sector 2 now. This battle has been happening for a while. Magiro been doing quite good on not being too, as I was about to say, doing good on not being pressurized. It seems he goes quite understeery going into that corner and just leaves quite a bit of time. They're going on to the S's just before the straight here. This is where hopes and dreams might die here for Magiro if he can't get a good exit here into turn, I think it's 18, but he manages to get a good exit. But is it going to be enough here to keep Daniel Montero out of the slipstream? It does seem he does get a better exit, but we now see the slipstream starting to take place. Very fractional though at the moment. It starts to get better now going into the final parts of the straight, but it's not going to be enough for the time being. However, this turn 1 is a lot of a... Wow, I can't speak English anymore. As we do see Daniel Montero getting very close there to Magiro going into the final few corners here of sector 1. As you might have not heard, but pre-chief just said this is the final lap here for the leaders here, so this is very little time here for Daniel Montero to try and get past Magiro here for P13. if I could, no, it's my own language, mate, because I usually I stumble on my words and I just start speaking absolute gibberish. So I call it the Aces language. Do you see though, Daniel Montero losing quite a bit of time now going into the final few corners here. Obviously still has one more lap to try put too much pressure here on Maguire. So we do see now Vil is in the lead, but not by too much time. 5.3 seconds or so to Ben Crook. Ben Crook taking P2 for the time being. Dean not being too happy, losing quite a bit of time there, unfortunately, due to some traffic issues. But you can probably understand that. I'm sure you won't understand what I say when I go into absolute gibberish mode. You might see it if I do it, because on the weekend I did probably about 7 hours of endurance racing commentary, and just sprint race commentary in total. I started speaking a bit of gibberish going into the last race, but luckily it wasn't a very professional race on the last one, so it didn't matter too much.
The leader has finished the race.
We have just seen Vil has finished the race there to take P1 there. Very well done there from Vil. Doing an absolutely awesome job to get the moves done and takes the win here for Ted and Bentley Racing. As we go further down though, we do see the Robert Alavi. There we go. That's gibberish coming back again. Going past us, we do see Dean is not. Has Dean actually finished? Yeah, Dean has finished the race there. As we see this bunch of cars finishing the race now, as we go further back, these cars quite far behind you, going into the S here. So quite a distance between all of these cars. Now, as just realised now, a few of these cars are further behind, so we will see them finish the race before we see P8 and so finish the race. As we see Michael Lawson. I don't know what happened there with Michael Lawson, but it seems to just going a bit slow down the straight. Didn't lose any positions. Yes, he did lose positions. That was for position. I wonder what happened there. I think there was just a bit of contact between the buttons. So we see Michael Lawson absolutely hitting the wall there. Speed as we see a few cars going back into the pits now. However, we do see a last lap battle here. Rentano trying to get past here of the Mercedes. Managed just to get past here. Going into the final corner now. Is there going to be any sort of retaliation there from the Mercedes? At the moment, we don't see anything, as they also come across the line as well for the end of this first race of commentary for me. Round 3, obviously, going to put a few more a bit of pressure here on driver to get some sort of moves done as we go back into garage for the time being. But that was actually a very good race. Very good to commentate on. A lot of stuff happening there. It seems quite a bit of heartbreak to some people in chat. Some people saying it was the best race. As we also do see Dean not being very happy at Bella there, but we will not go into any of that. I'm sure that's stuff to be dealt outside of stream. But obviously I have been Aces, also known as Alex. I have been the commentator for today, and hopefully for the rest of the World Tour here, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll hope to see you next time. Have a great evening all, and yeah,